The Guelph Lake location really swelled the excitement around the show itself. You came onto an island and bam, here's a car show loaded with cars. Well, here we are, 10 episodes in, and I figured I'd celebrate my 10th episode with the anniversary of Berlin Klassik's 10th year and do a review on a car show that's close to my heart because I, as many of you might know already, volunteer with the show, but far beyond that I've been going to the show and know about the show for many more years. Well, heck, it's been 10 years since it's been around. You may or may not attend car shows right now, but if you're in the car scene and you're a car person, I definitely recommend getting one on your calendar. Now, I've been talking about the Canadian scene here. Last episode, which I'd like you to compare, was Eurocracy in Montreal. This is a different type of show. Berlin is different. Maybe the cars are similar, but it's different, and I'll get into that. What I'd like to hear from you is your comments. Give me some suggestion on shows that maybe you'd like me to review or shows that you've gone to and I should try and attend as well. Tell me in the comments. Getting into this and trying to figure out where to start is tough, but it makes the most sense to start off with the fact that all of these shows start with the car itself. My first car was a Mazda 3, and I'll be honest with you, at that point in time when I was 22, 23, I was dying for that car, and I decided that Mazda was the way to go. I thought a front wheel, well, you know what, I'm getting sidetracked here. The point is that I started off with these JDM or Japanese style shows, a lot of import stuff, and Berlin Klassik wasn't on my calendar. Over time, I wanted a different car. I aspired to a Mark V Volkswagen Jetta, seen here. The point is not the car, the point is the community that circles around Volkswagen, and that's how Berlin Klassik started. It was predominantly a Volkswagen meet/show where a whole bunch of friends got together with a whole bunch of different marks and eventually grew into the Euro show that it is now. And that's why there's always been a predominance of Volkswagens with the largest showing of cars. Now, it's a little bit sad because there has been a dwindling of some of the air-cooled stuff. There's still a really good showing, but I really wish that more of those individuals would come back and check out the show because that's how the roots of the show started. And really, that's something that everyone enjoys seeing because at this point, those are truly classic cars and they're fantastic to see. So how did I find out about Berlin Klassik? Well, like I mentioned in the Eurocracy video, cars used to circle more around forums and although parking lot meets still exist, they really kind of started as an online community. So what I'm trying to say is that from these meets and forums and gatherings basically grew a car show, everybody gets together, and away we go. Berlin Klassik got its start at Bingaman's in Kitchener. And that location was great. There was a massive parking lot, there was mini golf and swimming nearby because it was a family, funplex, fun park kind of thing. Most importantly, it had camping, and I'll circle back to that. But it was expansive enough. A lot of people came out. I can't tell you attendance numbers, but the growing trend you'll see from the pictures is that really things have grown over the years. Many people like to complain about the fact that the show moves and that changes things. People have to change locations, but as I've said before, the point of a car show is the destination itself. A lot of local people go to Berlin Klassik from Kitchener, Waterloo, whatever, but we had a lot of GTA people come to Kitchener as well and other places around Ontario. And when it moved, there's always a bit of hesitation. Because, well, why are we moving? And I'm used to this, and I like this, and I enjoy going to this. And the point of moving locations is not always the choice of the organizers of a car show, and it's not just Berlin Klassik. Sometimes it's a forced option where someone has to move to try and make the show as best as possible in terms of balance for the people who attend and the people who work and volunteer for the show. You've got to consider that there are actual economics behind a car show, and I'm not going to get into that, but do consider that that is definitely part of it. But I digress. Some memories from Berlin Klassik over the first few years was, seeing like cars, a lot of Jettas and competing with the same type of car and a lot of Volkswagens, getting into the community and feeling a Euro show out versus a Japanese or another import type of show. It is different. It's got a different vibe. A Euro car show is different from other type of import car shows. I feel like it's basically a little more open. People are a lot more willing to discuss their cars and their builds. I think it's because the age gap is actually, now that I think about it, a lot wider for a Euro car show, and thus people are a lot more willing to kind of talk and discuss. You know, it's really the perfect medium between maybe the muscle and old car era, which is, I'd like to say, an older demographic in terms of majority. Then you've got the import demographic, which is, you know, generally a younger majority, and then Euro is right in between, where you've got young, medium, and old in terms of ages, and that really creates a different type of community. So what was the draw of Bingamons, and what was the draw of the original Berlin Classic show? Well, other than show cars, which were of high quality and friends getting together, there was a burnout, and I mean at that point in time a massive burnout, to the point where this might be part of the thing with the location, is the fact that the parking lot maybe wasn't built for burnouts. It doesn't matter. Smoke was made, clouds existed, it was fantastic, and that just continues on every year. Now let's move on to that camping thing I talked about, because that is something consistent between all of the Berlin Classics and is prevalent in the 10th anniversary. When you're driving somewhere to get to a car show, generally you're going with friends, you may not be going by yourself, you may go with a larger group, or you may bring your family. Whatever the point is of how you decide to travel, it is time that you're setting aside to do your hobby and enjoy your passion. So when you can draw out that enjoyment to include others who may not be into the car show itself, but they may be into spending time with you, or spending time with friends or other people, or going to a destination. When you have the ability to camp close to the show, there's a lot of goodness that comes out of that. I've never heard anyone complain about a campfire, marshmallows, drinking. The point is there's a lot of opportunity to just enjoy and kick back when you've got a show that you enjoy yourself, and then you've got friends and camping that you enjoy on the other side of things. Now, camping isn't for everyone. People bring trailers. I'd like to say that there's some glamping going on here and there. There are hotels nearby if you book early enough, so, you know, get ready for that. But it really is that togetherness that you get around the campfire and enjoying the time together, and, you know, all your cars in one spot in that setting. It really is pretty cool, and that's why the trip matters. Eurocracy is a great show in terms of destination with the city that you're going to. Berlin Classic is a great show with the idea that you're going to the show, but the show involves the experience of an after party in the form of whatever you make it. Generally around camping, people may head into the local town, whatever it may be, but you head back to a campsite, you chill, and you go to show day, because it's a minimum 2-day event. So the show moved beyond the Bingamons locations after a handful of years and a handful of reasons. And it comes to the sweet spot of memory for a lot of people because it moved to the Guelph Lake Conservation Area. There's not a lot of car shows in Canada, or I believe personally in North America, that have the location that really wows people. The Guelph Lake location really swelled the excitement around the show itself. You came onto an island and bam, here's a car show loaded with cars. The first year on the island was tough because you had more people that were interested in the show. It was a new location, but it was still getting worked out logistically. So a lot of cars were heading in and out, and the traffic became an issue. But the following year that got worked out. And what I'm trying to say here is that every year that Berlin Classic exists, at one location or another, generally issues start to get solved in one way or another, and that's the evolution of Berlin and why it's continued to get better. So just touching on that for a quick moment there. Now the island also introduced another burnout area, which was pretty cool because it was picturesque, set against like these trees on a full tree line, and that was a neat location. And then we also introduced the limbo, so that was something pretty cool. Now I said we, and I mean that because at that point in time when the island tour had switched was when I started volunteering more, and that has been fantastic. Very tough at times, but fantastic. And it's interesting to see both sides of the show, and I can say that I really, really enjoyed the island tour simply because it started to get really organized and people enjoyed it, and it just had a nice setting. I think right there is a good spot to end part one, and I appreciate for watching this far, but there are so many memories and so many things to talk about with regard to this car show that part two is going to be the rest of it. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments and opinions. Honestly, I would. Please let me know and tune into part two as well as the future videos coming up.